If you love the rest of the story, subscribe now. Americans, you're gonna learn a new name today. A name you should have learned a long time ago. Sarah McWilliams, a St. Louis laundress, at the turn of the 20th century. Twice a day she'd cross the Mississippi River on the Eads Bridge, with a big basket of lingerie balanced on her head. And one evening Sarah did something she'd never done before. She stopped right there on the street, just as she was about to cross the bridge. She stood there gazing up at the magnificent structure. She was transfixed, as though seized by an irresistible daydream, and her mind wandered back to another time. The daughter of former slaves, Sarah was born and reared on a farm. Orphaned at 7, married at 14. For a while she and her husband lived in Vicksburg, Mississippi. A daughter was born to them. They called her Lelia. And when Sarah was 20 her husband died, and the prosperity of which they had both dreamed died with him. So with $1.50 wrapped in a rag in her apron pocket, and with Lelia bundled in her arms, Sarah left the South forever and headed for St. Louis. Taking in washing and ironing, she managed to support herself and her daughter. They got by, but that was all. Until that one evening 4 years later, when Sarah stood staring at the Eads Bridge, suddenly she realized what had so impressed her. For ages the mighty Mississippi River had been forded with great difficulty, by canoe, by raft, and many who had attempted to swim across had lost their lives to a treacherous undertow. But now here was the towering Eads Bridge, a testimony to man's determination to find a better way to cross the river. And from that moment, the Eads Bridge served as a symbol for Sarah. She grew determined that somehow she would find a better way to do something, and in the process she would leave a legacy of which her daughter could be proud. Well, that night Sarah went home and looked in the mirror. But instead of a face beleaguered by hopelessness, instead of the face of a poor what was then called colored washerwoman, she saw radiance. She saw her youth and her strength, and most important, she saw potential. It was Sarah McWilliams who first told African Americans that black is beautiful, and then proved it. Actually showed her people how very beautiful they could be. You may remember Sarah by her second husband's name. But now I hope you will reflect on the accomplishments of an incomparable woman known as Madam C.J. Walker, because now, when you hear of the inventive businesswoman who started mixing creams and oils and perfumes in a washtub, who built a cosmetics empire from nothing, who became America's first black millionaire, as well as the first self-made female millionaire anywhere in all history. Whenever you're told of the splendid success Sarah made of her life, please remember a St. Louis laundress staring up at a bridge, thinking I can do big things too. Because now you know the rest of the story.